Hi, thank you for joining us on another episode of We Have Been Watching Podcast with Rob and Mart. I'm Rob. Hello, Mart. How are you?
Hello, Mart. It's Mart over here. How are you, Rob? You okay?
I'm all right. Good. We've got main topic of film topic is Northman. Got a couple of other movies to talk about, and Love, Death and Robots Series 3.
Oh,
so we're going to go through some of that. Not all of it. We'll save some of the other episodes for another bit. I've been binge watching Doctor Who over my breakfast.
I love it. Yeah.
Every day. So we're getting through. There's a startling rate. It's amazing with a bit of fast forwarding through the plot. That how many of those you can watch?
I still don't think you get the benefit of that. But
I think there's episodes when I know this is going. I remember it being bad, and then you start watching it and you realise, I remember this being bad, and it is still bad. So there's just odd episodes.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But before all we get into the juicy nuggets, trailer time.
So, 3,000 Years of Longing.
Yeah, great title. Great trailer.
Is this a trailer about us trying to get to the top of the podcast charts?
No, that's the next one, the Mission Impossible.
Oh, fantastic. Right, 3,000 Years of Longing.
You seen it?
Yes,
trailer.
But I can't remember what the hell happens in it now. So
Idris Elba is Aladdin.
Oh, it's Aladdin. Yes, of course it is.
Tilda Swinton with a northern accent, with her specs on, looking like Edna Mole out of The Incredibles.
Well, she's doing exactly the same character as in Snowpiercer, isn't she?
Yes, of course she is. Yeah.
Great.
I thought this was a really, really good trailer.
It looks fab.
The idea of him telling all these stories about his different wishes. So there's obviously all these, from the Arabian Nights style flashes you see of stuff that he's been getting up to. And just them sitting in their dressing gowns in the hotel room whilst they're telling the story.
Yeah.
And I hope there's like good chemistry between them and stuff like that.
I like Tilda Swinton and I like Idris Elba, so this could be a really good one, couldn't it?
And it's George Miller who has got it in him to do some great stuff. I like the music in the trailer. I just
it's really unusual, isn't it? It's really odd.
This is one of those few trailers where, unlike your Star Wars or your Marvel ones, where I just feel like, all right, let me just watch that again in case of me.
Yeah. Is this one that you don't want to watch again? You just want to
this is what. Yeah. Well, no. This is one of these trailers where I actually watched it and thought, oh, that's quite good. I wasn't really expecting that. I didn't really know what it was about or anything, and then watched it again a second time just to sink in, like, oh wow, this is George Miller's new film. So this is what he's been working. I didn't know anything about it.
I don't know if this is this film I saw the trailer for, but I've had a lot of this lately, and it was like 3,000 Years of Longing trailer now, and it's trailer for a trailer, and I'm like, why are you doing this?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that trailer for? It's not on our notes. It's called Beast, also with Idris Elba.
I've not watched the trailer. I've seen it. I've seen the on YouTube.
Yeah.
The image for it.
I can't decide if it is.
Is it him versus a lion or something?
Do you remember Cujo? Have you ever watched that Stephen King where they're trapped in a car and the dog's after him? That's a really old film now, and it's not even older. But do you know? Yeah, that with a lion.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if there are some sort of weird mercenary slave traders in there thrown in as well. I couldn't quite tell how it was going in the trailer, but yeah, that's again another one to look out for.
Other one was what was it? The trailer we was going to talk about Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning's Part 1.
Now, I didn't know anything about this till he and I put it on. And I thought, oh, is this going to be another made-up fake trailer? But no, it's a real thing, isn't it?
And it is more of the same, and that's fine by me because I really enjoy the Mission Impossibles. I think they're great entertainment.
You've ruined this for me because
Why?
I'm now looking at Tom Cruise's not grey hair.
It's distracting, isn't it?
So, first of all, it's Tamara Morrison's teeth, and now you've ruined it for me with Tom Cruise's hair. So, and anyone that will or won't listen to me now, I'm like, did you know? Did you know Tom Cruise dyed his hair? And all that? And they're like, do you know men in their 40s usually go grey? And it's like, oh, dear me.
Well, it's not just his not grey hair. I mean, last episode we were talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Shouldn't Obi-Wan Kenobi be full grey now? Shouldn't they be moving him towards the Alec Guinness hair?
Well, he's got 7 years of...
7 years to turn from that to Alec Guinness. That's going to
He's
be
got
a
a really
rough
bad
7
life.
years for
He's
him.
going to have a
That
hard life, isn't he? He's going to have Mission
it should be great
Impossible. More Mission Impossible. That's only good for me. I like it.
with Hayley Atwell.
Rebecca Ferguson. I love Rebecca Ferguson.
Yes,
She's great.
Hayley Atwell, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg. Train stunts filmed not far from here.
Okay.
Actually.
Yep.
Him doing a motorbike stuff. Oh, just too much stuff. Just a big montage of
Would you
stunts
say
and action stuff.
these have outshone James Bond now? Because that's the nearest thing, I think, isn't it? I mean, the last James Bond film is good. Do you think these are more popular?
I think there's room for them both. Same as like the Bourne movies. I think this is doing its. I mean, this has just turned into Tom Cruise stunt shenanigans, isn't it? The problem with this is it's not going to live without him, is it? He's going to do this Dead Reckoning 1 and 2. Well, could he then be a producer and his character then becomes like the head of the Mission Impossible team and they get some young actors taken? But won't it feel weird without having you've got to have, I think, some young actors are prepared to do crazy stunts for it to really feel like it's following it on.
Yeah, but there's got to be, like, let's just say it's Harry Styles, and I'm only saying that because I keep getting Harry Styles shoved down my neck everywhere online at the minute. There's got to be thousands of actors who want to be the next Tom Cruise, and they are willing to do anything and everything. I mean, Tom Cruise really is a superstar, isn't he? Regardless of doing
his
your
religious beliefs,
doing your own stunts, and regardless of his Scientology, but there's got to be other people out there who are like, I will do what's required to that. But yeah, I think
because this franchise would work for me with, say, maybe you want to go younger than this. Say Zac Efron.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of it. That's the first person that popped in my head.
He's not
my daughter's been pumping
anymore, is he?
No, maybe not. He's been pumping High School Musical out of her bedroom while she's been decorating this afternoon.
Do you need someone like one of the younger actors? I'm trying to think.
Well, not Tom Holland, but like a Tom Holland.
Yes.
That age, someone that does physical stuff. I don't want Tom Holland to be in the next Mission Impossible film because he's already got his own friend.
Yeah.
He's trying to do it with his own Uncharted stuff, which is obviously just all CGI. But there'll be someone. Yeah, I think that franchise could live without him.
But he'd have to be, like you say, the chief of IMF or whatever they're called. He'd have to hand out the missions, wouldn't he?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be up for that.
Yeah, I would as well.
I'd be up for that. I'll let him know.
Cool.
I'll let him know. I'll message him now.
Now, moving on from that, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Now, I called this with the last one. Not that it was a great insight, but the last trailer said this looks too colourful and jokey and silly.
Yep.
I bet the next one will add some different tones to it because you've got to introduce Christian Bale. And it does a bit. Though it's still got loads of jokey bits.
I'm not massively in love with this at the minute, but look, I'll definitely go and watch it at the cinema. They haven't done us wrong yet, have they?
Do you remember the Ragnarok trailer dropping and everyone went nuts?
Not really.
With Hulk, because they had that in the trailer, didn't they?
Okay, yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I know you. You're a friend from work." And it was like, "Oh my god, it's a Planet Hulk storyline."
Yes,
well, I didn't. I remember thinking, "Oh god, I can't wait to see this." With this though, I don't know. It does look very, very bright and colourful and silly, and even like the jokes didn't look particularly great. I don't know.
Even his outfit he's done to make him look like an 80s rocker.
Which is kind of referencing, what's he called, Thunderstrike in the comics that's dresses like that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that. So, I don't know. I mean, it's that... But again, it's Taika Waititi, isn't it? So, he hasn't done us wrong, has he? So, let's take it... because do you remember right at the start of Ragnarok when he's on that chain, isn't he? In front of Surtur, is it?
Yeah,
and he's turning round. He said, "Oh, sorry, wait a minute." That was a different tone, wasn't it, for these Marvel films? Well,
yeah, Guardian of the Galaxy, that's its own thing. But having Thor, Thor's character sort of changed a little bit there, then, hasn't it? So,
yeah.
From the Shakespearean style of talking, all the bits with Christian Bale all seem to be like in black and white or something.
Yeah.
Well, there's a bit where he's talking and he's just like got white makeup with these like grey lines on his face. But then there's other bits from him. He doesn't seem to have those grey lines on his face. He just has scars on his eyes, and he's like got black blood dripping out of his mouth.
So it's at different times.
Yeah, it looks like they're fighting in some black and white world. I mean, he doesn't really look that much like his comic book version.
I don't know.
Doesn't look that much like him at all.
I'm probably going to leave the trailers now on this and just wait, because it's not too long now coming out, is it? I'll leave the trailers, go and watch it and see what it comes out like.
Yes, I mean, he is very good at mixing those tones, isn't he? And jumping from something quite moving and tragedy and heartbreak. I mean, he did it with Hunt for the Wilder People, didn't he? With the stuff there where you like, haha, laugh at you, and then all of a sudden, like, oh my god, I feel so sorry for you. And he's done that, and Ragnarok does it to a certain extent, though that doesn't. Maybe he's going to have some big emotional beats in this. Is it going to be a love story? Is he going to get back with Jane, do you think? Is that where they're going to go?
I'm not a mega Natalie Portman fan either. So, I don't know at the minute. I don't know. But, again, I'll watch it. We'll have
hedging our bets on that one.
Yeah.
Before we get into Northman, then, I just rewatched Ghostbusters Afterlife because there was nothing else for us to watch the Friday. So we just said, let's just put that on.
How does it hold up?
I still enjoy it. I mean, I could see all the criticism you could say that it's just another legacy sequel that's too close to the original, and the original cast is shoehorned in at the end. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right all about that. But I just love the small town feel to it. I think the young cast, especially the his granddaughter with the specs.
Yeah, she's fabulous, isn't she?
She's absolutely brilliant. And Carrie Kuno, I adore from Leftovers TV show. She's good in it as well. It's just like the little girl's in charge, and the mom's just like a bit of a mess, really.
We're wasted out, isn't she? Yeah.
And I just, I thought maybe because I'd seen it before, and it was on like a Christmas Eve or something. I think I'd seen it when it first came out, and I just thought, maybe I'll just be a bit too positive because it's close to Christmas.
Yeah.
But watch it a second time. I think it's good entertainment. I think it's a good movie.
Good. I've yet to watch it a second time, so we'll watch it.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
I watched Metal Lords on Netflix.
Is this the one about some high school kids that decide to make a heavy metal band or something?
Kind of. It's the kid out of It. Not Georgie. George is the kid in the yellow southwest that dies, isn't he? It's the brother. The brother who's the main character. So there's him, I'm air quoting now. He's a regular high school kid, and his best mate is a proper metalhead with the clothes. He only listens to metal, but he's kind of a shitty friend as well. And he's like, oh, it's all about the metal, dude. It's all about this, and he's quite angry and he's quite abrasive. And I think his mum died, the metal kid. So he's got a lot of anger, and he's got a rich dad, and he doesn't get on with his dad. And the film, it's about having, sometimes when you've had a friend, and you're friends because you've always been friends at little school, or whether you became friends when you learn,
or because your mum's a friend, and that kind of thing.
And are you actually compatible? And it actually addresses this, and his mate's constantly getting him into trouble. He's saying, oh, metal's the way. And he's actually not really that into it. My son said watching it, he said, these films where they have a kid who's like introverted and he's out and he's a loser, but they never really are. And at one point they have to give like a show and telling class, and he gets his guitar out and he's playing guitar and singing, and you think an introverted loser wouldn't be like that. They'd mumble under their long black hair, would they? So there's a girl in it there who's like the sort of friend that comes in between them. Not really. The main kid likes her, but the metal friend says she's not metal, she can't be in our band, she's not a girl. The film itself was fine, and actually it was a nice teen comedy drama that doesn't actually follow all the tropes that you've always got. And it was about, what happens when you've got a friend who's not actually that good a friend, and he's dealing with his own stuff. And then it centres around Battle of the Bands, and they're trying to do the Battle of the Bands. There's quite a funny bit there. Cover your kids' ears if you're listening. Their band is called Skull Effer, and there's a funny thing about that where they get to Battle of Bands, the teacher says to them, you cannot go out with a name called Skull Effer, and what they do to change the name. So it's about friends. Are they good friends? Are you really into something because your friend is? There's a couple of bits. Is it Joe Manganiello? Is he?
The guy?
The actor,
Deathstroke.
Yeah, he's in it, in a little cameo, in a fantastically coincidental plot device. But you know what? It was fine. I mean, if you ever watch things like Superbad or any of these kind of... It's not as funny as those, but it was fine. It was fine. Some really funny bits, and then quite a lot of mediumly funny bits. Okay, not the best thing in the world, but it was okay. There we go.
Okay.
So it was 6 or 7 out of 10. Yeah. I
probably won't bother.
Right.
I remember seeing the trailer, but I wasn't that fussed.
Right.
Northman.
So.
Yeah, what coming into Northman then? So we've seen The Witch.
Yes.
Which I wish I liked it more than I did.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
It left me feeling a bit cold, but I admired it, and I really liked what he was doing, and I liked the ending, and I liked the performances, but there was something about it that didn't quite connect for me. But I did admire it. I did. Lighthouse, which I thought was
I love that.
Really good and just unexpected and different and kind of mad and scary and then silly and funny and then having farting and burping alongside these quite weird, disturbing imagery at times. So seeing the trailer for this, thinking, I like this type of thing anyway. Well, do I? I don't really watch the Vikings TV show, stuff like that, but I like these kind of historical settings for these sort of films. I love the Vikings Kirk Douglas movie. That's less realistically accurate than this one, I would say. The one with where Tony Curtis keeps his New York accent, but there you go. And then because of the director attached to it, made me more interested than perhaps if it wasn't him. If it was just an unknown director, I probably wouldn't have been quite so hyped up about it.
Now, Rob, while trying to convince the good lady wife to watch this with me, I think you gave me a one sentence synopsis. What did you say? It was Braveheart, Excalibur.
No, I think it's Hamlet and Macbeth. The people have talked about the Hamlet stuff. We'll talk about that in a bit. I think it's Hamlet and Macbeth mixed in with possibly the Green Knight and Excalibur. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's those sort of things. I think it's got some of that stuff from Excalibur, which is what is that 70s now? Excalibur's well old, isn't it? That's another one for a rewatch one day. It's got that slightly sort of historical, but mixed in with magic and myth, hasn't it? Sort of mixed in with it. It's a little bit with that. It's about things being destiny and all that sort of stuff, and heritage of being a king and stuff. The Macbeth stuff, I suppose, maybe with some of the witchcrafty stuff. The Hamlet bit, because the plot is Hamlet, isn't it?
It is. So
revenge on my uncle. Is the blurb is
spoilers ahead, by the way. Yeah, just in case it's not that it's that kind of film. I think you can spoil it. Well, it could possibly end, but yeah.
I think we could talk. Well, yeah. This might be something not a lot of people have maybe seen, so we should keep this fairly spoiler light, I think, because
let me just sort of say a proviso here. This isn't like a big budget actiony film, is it? It's very muted colour palette. It's hard. It's a hard life, isn't it? They're living out in. There's not a lot of. Now, fans of the show will know me and Rob love the Green Knight, and for me that really has got that Excalibur weird mystical. This for me isn't quite as mystical as that. It's a little bit more.
There's a few trippy, dreamy bits.
There are.
And shaman-type witch people seeing the future. A little bit, yeah.
A little bit of that. But it's like as you say, it's a revenge. The trailer shows this. He's a kid. The Northman is this kid. His dad is the king of their tribe, or whatever they call it, the leader of their tribe, and he gets killed. And as a kid, he venges. He vows vengeance on the killer. And then as the film
costs, no matter what, yeah.
No, and then as the film goes on, I think, and I read this on a review somewhere, it shows that life isn't always black and white. The good people aren't always good. The bad people aren't always bad. And So there's a bit later on where I'm just going to jump away, where he finds the man that killed his father, and actually you kind of show him in a more positive light than he did.
Yeah, there's more to it than what he thought was to it when he was a little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why that's
were you put off by Nicole Kidman being in this because she's such a big star and a well-known?
No, I didn't find it distracting at all.
I thought it was going to be, but actually it wasn't at all. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, she was good.
It's surprising to see her in it. I mean, she wasn't distracting like the way she was in Aquaman, but I suppose the whole of Aquaman's distracting and annoying.
Yeah.
I found that with this, what took me a little bit by surprise is some of the stuff I'd seen from the trailer, which makes it look a bit more full-on battle-y.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff with him with his long hair raging around with his shirt off. It's kind of in the very start of the film, isn't it, really?
Yes.
Because then when they head off to Iceland, it all kind of calms down and it's more, and then it becomes a slow burn revenge.
It's a very slow burn, isn't it? And
yeah, because you would think from the trailer, you might think it is just going to be more Bravehearty and
yeah,
but it doesn't do that. It takes its time a little bit instead.
It's long sweeping shots of the countryside, and it's long sweeping shots of somebody chopping wood, and long sweeping shots of somebody braiding someone's hair. But again, so there's a bit, isn't there, where he, as a young man, he's working, if that's right, with another Viking clan, and they go to a village, don't they? And they basically just burn it down and kill everybody. That is interesting because he's not that good a guy. He's not really that good a guy.
This is interesting. We watched this film at the time because our topic we were just coming to an end at with my kids at school. We've just done the Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons and you touch on it with primary school children. This idea of they used to come and invade and have battles and people would get killed and they'd steal from monasteries and all that sort of stuff. And you say these things, and some people just, it's just washing over their heads.
Yeah.
Because it's just historical battles, whatever that means. Historical battle. There you go, and you don't really give it any much thought.
Exactly.
But when you're watching a film like this, where they're trying to show it fairly realistically, it's bloody horrible.
Yeah, because they take people as slaves.
They're just like mass murderers.
Yeah, they're literally
killing. Raping, stealing, but killing kids, anything.
They lock a load of people in a barn and set it on fire.
Yeah.
But again, the filming style is that thing where the camera goes along slowly, and as it's going along, things are happening. So it goes in between houses, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and you can see things going on.
Yeah, like is it a tracking shot? Yeah, well, when they put the camera on like a sort of a railway sort of track, isn't it? So I guess is that what they call it? Yeah, it just moves along. It does that in like Apocalypse Now, doesn't it? When the camera's just moving along, and Stanley Kubrick does it a lot as well. So it does that sort of thing, which is nice. I mean, you can tell it's not a mega budget, but I think what it does with the budget it's got is pretty impressive.
It really was, wasn't it? And watching it, I turned to my wife and I was like, "This life is hard, isn't it? It's." So when he, I'm going to try not to spoil it, but when he sort of gets to the latter third of the film, when he's kind of found the guy he's after, they're in Iceland, aren't they? And it is cold, it's windy, it's brutal. It's a brutal life, isn't it?
Yeah, harsh. Yeah, it's very harsh. I think the thing that held my attention with this, and my wife just thought the trailer was dreadful. She's like, well, that looks so corny and obvious and lame, and I went, what? That looks great. I do like he's just he's not quite a force of nature, but he's so animalistic, isn't he?
He's so hell bent on revenge. It's all consuming, isn't it?
And when there's that scene when you see a bunch of the Vikings all dancing around the fire, and they're all like howling, and it's almost slightly funny at first when they'll start doing it, and then you realise it's quite intense. That there's quite a few scenes like that when he's so intense. I just thought he must really built himself up ready before the. You can't just go and action and just get into that mode.
Yeah.
There's the stuff where he's just like he's full on and he's like screaming and.
Without spoilers, Rob, there's a scene with him and Nicole Kidman, and I've got to say her acting was amazing. She's really visceral, isn't she? She's really kind of like.
Yeah, she's interesting in this, actually.
Tough speaking and quite.
Maybe because I've not really seen her in much lately, but this kind of sort of reminded me that she's an interesting actress. It's an interesting character, interesting material for her to do. But is it that unusual for her? I don't know. That's just.
Well, the last
Think
thing
of it
I
as
saw him was that Isle of Lucy thing. And I think I mentioned that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the makeup, but she looked full of filler. But in this, she didn't. She looked like a regular lady, you know. But again, they're not done up to look beautiful, are they? It's a hard life. They're
like
battered and beaten.
They did a really interesting thing with all the night scenes. Look like, I think, I'm no expert, but it looks like it's day for night filming. So they film it in the day,
Okay,
and then they colour, they do things to it, and that's how they used to make it. They used to do that a lot in old films,
right?
Because everything was really clear at night, wasn't it?
Yes,
it was. So it's kind of turned to this black and white image, but it wasn't in the darkness and tons of shadows that you'd expect if it was truly nighttime. So you could things were still really like pin sharp in the dark. I've not looked up how he did that, but I assume it's filmed in the daylight and then they've just done something to it. So I thought that was interesting. What's her name from
Anya
Taylor-Joy?
Yeah, she's always great.
She's good. I mean, she doesn't have a lot to do. I did feel like anyone, some other actresses could have played that really.
There's a lot of, again, I know I said there wasn't too much mysticism, but he has these visions, doesn't he? And he's so intense, isn't he? He's like really.
It's got a real sense of the mysticism side of it, which made me think of Excalibur. It's just this, with Excalibur, it's like this is going to happen. You are going to die here, and this person is going to kill you.
Yeah.
And Macbeth does the same thing, doesn't it? Where with Macbeth, it's just saying
you can't escape fate, can you?
Yeah. So it's like him. I don't know. It's just. I mean, he has a. This is getting into a bit more spoilery stuff now, but he does have a chance to break away from his path of vengeance, doesn't he?
But I think
he has a chance, and he goes, and he's like, no, I can't. I've got to do this.
Yeah, I think he's too far gone. I think that's all he's known. And in a different film, perhaps the love of a woman will help him recover. But in this, he's just too far gone. He's just so single-minded. He can't. And then at that point, he feels like it is his destiny, and he can't get away from it.
What did you think of Willem Dafoe's scene where they're on their hands and knees farting and burping?
Brilliant. It was like a wild shaman mushroom drink induced hypnotic fit, wasn't it? I like that.
There's bits like that which reminded me this is the director of The Lighthouse watching there. There's some I don't know whether perhaps it's not really built up. I didn't really think of it as particularly violent as I was watching, but then I started thinking about the stuff that's happened in it. It is actually dead violent, isn't it?
It really is. And so much so, again, I convinced my wife to watch it with me, and then I did. I'm gonna call this now the Jar Jar Binks move. And it's that thing where I sort of went to scratch the side of my head and put my hand up so she wasn't looking at me, because I thought this is really heavy and really, really strong in places, and it's not the kind of film she likes, and I've made her watch it. It is, even though they kind of look away. So there's a bit, isn't there, where as a kid he cuts off a guy's nose, and you see this guy later on. But you see him killing people. I am glad to say that they didn't linger on the raping too much, even though they take people as their slaves. That would have been a bit too strong, I think.
It is. Well, it is.
It's mentioned.
I mean, the main character's not squeamish at what happens to bodies, hacking and chopping.
Oh, yeah. There's more arms and legs chopped off in this than there is in a Star Wars thing, isn't there? And he's a complete badass, isn't he? He's without
his physicality. He carried himself. He wasn't carrying himself like a muscle man like He-Man. It was like his shoulders really hunched over forwards and like an animal.
Yeah. What do you think of the final fight at Hell's Gate, which I thought was so again, it's in like chapters, isn't it? A bit like I'm trying to think. Was it Green Knight in chapters? I can't remember now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
and I thought
because it goes. You've got that almost sort of more natural, real scenery in the middle section, and then in the end, it kind of ramps itself up into epic territory again, doesn't it?
They talk about "I'll see you in hell," and I think, what are they talking about? Like, do they literally mean the afterlife? Because there's a lot of talk, isn't there, about an honourable death. His dad, Ethan Hawke, says, "Oh, as a kid, I can't die an old man. I've got to die in honour in battle." So that was good to say. But at the end, sorry for a little spoiler, it's a volcano, and they call that Hell's Gate, don't they? And I thought, oh, okay, that's good. In Iceland. It was good. It wasn't what I expected the ending to be. I'm not going to spoil it. It wasn't and I went, oh god. For the entirety of this film, I could not look away. I don't know whether it's the cinematography, the style of acting, the really brutal special effects that were like very realistic, weren't they?
It had me gripped quite, throughout, really.
I mean, the first time you see him as an adult, he's rowing, isn't he? And he's got that look, hasn't he? And he's looking kind of at the camera with such ferocity and such intensity. I was like, wow, this guy's really got an axe to grind.
Yeah, I think it is that intensity which. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw something like that.
It's burning up, isn't it?
Well, it's a bit like, in some ways, stuff like Taxi Driver or Joker, when you feel like these characters are a bit unhinged, really, and you think, are they going? I was waiting for them to maybe explode or something. Have you ever seen Dead Man's Shoes?
Don't think so. But what's the film?
Because Paddy Considine in that has got this same kind of intensity where you just think, I would not want to mess with you in the slightest.
What's the film with Robert De Niro, and there's a scene where he's in the cinema and he's covered in tattoos and he's smoking and he's laughing and really...
Cape Fear.
Oh, Cape Fear. Robert De Niro in that is terrifying, isn't he?
So it's just
it's intense, isn't he? Very good film though. But again, listeners, this is not a big budget action film. This isn't like, I'm trying to think, it's not like your Mission Impossible or your Marvel or your James Bond type film. It's kind of art house, isn't it?
No, yeah, I mean, it's not a historical film. I mean, this is. It's not even like Gladiator or Troy or those.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
It's not as mainstream as that. It's bloodier and it's lower budget and it's a bit grimmer than those sorts of things. But if you like those kind of things, if you like your Bravehearts and your Gladiators and Green Knights and that sort of thing, then I think you'll like it. Just be prepared that it is a little bit of a slower burn than some of those things are. But I really enjoyed it. How many? Actually, it's the second time in as many podcasts that I'm rating things in terms of dismembered limbs. But how many dismembered limbs out of 10 would you? I was
going to say, how many Anya Taylor-Joy wide-eyed stares at the camera were you going to give it? I really enjoyed it. I'm going to say 8. I'd like to watch it again.
8.
But
yeah, I think I'd give it. I think I'd probably give it 8 farting and burping Willem Dafoe's out of 10.
What I will say, though, it's that kind of film where you can't just watch it again. You've got to be in the right mood for it. It's a bit like watching Zack Snyder's 4-hour black and white cut. It's probably once or twice a year you're going to want to watch this just to get your head into that art house vibe again.
Yeah.
Cool. Rob, we've not got a huge amount of time left. Do you want to talk about Doctor Who or Love, Death and Robots just before we finish up?
Well, Love, Death and Robots, so we'll just mention one or two of those episodes. We did say at the start, I'd mention a couple.
Yep.
So one definitely worth talking about is we've got a different opinion on the one where there's like a knight and a siren.
Yeah.
Isn't there? Sort of trying to, tempt them into the water.
He's a deaf knight, isn't he? And they've obviously plundered some lands, and they come across this lake. And but it's played out without any sound, as in without any dialogue. It's all weird sounds, and it's all muffled as if it's the way he's hearing it.
It looked great. She was really interesting, the way the siren was moving and sort of summoning these people like sort of these strange dance moves. But then it was like it was knights, but it kind of had like this sort of Indian vibe and tattoos and jewellery and
things.
Like
conquistadors or something like that?
I don't know. I couldn't quite place where is this meant to be set. Well, I found that episode just a little bit baffling. You enjoyed it, didn't you?
I loved it, and that was exactly why. And some of the movements it was like what they've done. You know when they call it ragdoll physics in a computer game, and it's when the bodies work weirdly jerk around.
Me and my wife talked about it. It's almost like it's like they must have mocapped someone, but where you're doing something in a studio and falling, obviously they can have a character not hitting the water, and so they're jerking like on strings in a really odd way. And so
for me,
some of that stuff ain't.
For me, it was unlike anything I've seen before. It was so strange and odd, mixed in with the music. And there's loads of scenes of this knight running through the forest with it on his face, and things are sped up, things are slowed down.
Yeah, that's the bit that's jarring, camera shaky, and it's not Blair Witch shaky, isn't it? It's sort of like it's suddenly zoom in and back, and
it's like
all
the
over
Flash
the place.
running through the streets, isn't it? It's that kind of thing.
I found that a bit annoying.
For me, it was that thing where you start off, the siren is evil and she's bringing all these soldiers to their death, but actually the soldiers are, because they're all killing each other, aren't they, in this lake?
Yeah, it's a bit bloodthirsty again, isn't it? It's quite a gory episode. Yeah,
then you think they're going to fall in love, and they kind of do, but then you find out the knight is actually horrible as well, and then she's kind of like the victim. I really liked it. It was so odd and strange and different.
It's worth seeing. It's one of those things that we watch them at different.
Yeah.
Some of these I've watched with my son. Some I've watched with my wife. There's an episode that they watched without me. We're all between the three of us. None of actually watching an episode together. Swarm I've seen, which is just an interesting concept. The idea of this alien they're all like these massive bug type things, and this idea of like humans almost being like an infestation, I suppose.
Yeah.
Scale one. That was okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I've watched. That one with the fairly on the nose satire with the little robots is quite fun, isn't it? That's
about
taking a
humanity.
That was good.
Greed over saving our own planet.
Actually, saying I've watched a couple of, and I've watched two more. I watched Bad Travelling, which is the one with the big bad crab on the boat.
Yeah, that was good.
I enjoyed that concept because it reminded me a bit like The Thing, didn't it? Really, these people not trusting each other, and then this one menace. That's the ones I could see that spun into a big film.
It was really good. The only thing I would say, I watched that during the daytime, and it was really dark, and at some place I was having trouble sort of seeing it very well.
So I've watched 1, 2, 3, 4. I have watched half of them, and the other one, which is my favourite so far, Night of the Mini Dead.
Oh, that was so good.
It's so short, but it's just I want to watch that again.
What do you call that style of anime? When they
it's a style of photography, isn't it? Where you can make things look like the models,
like the
real life
models. Yeah. It's a zombie outbreak, but they reference so many zombie films because there was Resident Evil in there. Yes. There was Night of the Living
little
Dead.
Easter eggs. Well, my wife didn't get all those references, but she thought that was a good one as well.
So
and you can hear little bits of dialogue all speeded up from the president and stuff like that. And everything's all speeded up, like fast forward.
Have you watched the one?
It's really fun.
Where it is those two female astronauts on that planet.
No.
Right. Okay. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the ones
we'll discuss more of these, Rob.
Yeah.
As you watch them, because I've watched them all now because I binged this so hard.
Yeah.
I love them.
By next week I'll have them done.
I probably will rewatch some of these actually. Yeah.
The other thing which I don't need to spend too much time just as a quick mention is of continuing the Doctor Who rewatch. This wasn't planned. It was just me having an itch I wanted to scratch. I started watching the Peter Davison one, wasn't it? And I've worked my way through now, but I'm fast running through bits. Christmas Invasion, I'm not a big fan of his first episode. He's barely in it. He's in his dramas a lot, and I feel like his acting's proper hammy in it. The bits when he's like, "This hand's a fighting hand,"
I don't remember that.
You're embarrassing. So I didn't enjoy that very much. New Earth was his next episode, which is good fun because he's building up the chemistry with him and Rose with the cat nurses.
I kind of remember the cat nurses. I don't.
Yeah, that's okay. And the face of Bo, and then the lady out of one of the. Yeah, and the lady out of the Eccleston episode, she's like stretched skin. She kind of inhabits Rose, and she's all like acts all sort of sexy. It's a bit weird, but it starts to build up that idea. There's a bit of a spark between Doctor and Rose, which is good.
Yeah.
Tooth and Claw.
Queen Vic and a Werewolf you've written on here.
Queen Vic and a Werewolf, that's that one summed up, and then they're in a house, aren't they? And there's a special wood. What's clever with that one is, I don't know if you remember this, at the end.
Not really.
The Queen Victoria's like, well, thanks for helping you, but I don't like your type, so clear off. And then she announces, right, we need to build some kind of organisation to stand against these kind of threats in the future. Yeah, and the house they're in is Torchwood House.
And nice.
So far at these Tenant ones, I love Tenant, but there's a lot of bits in it, especially when he does that kind of high squeaky voice. It makes me think of Timmy Mallet.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And he like sort of goes, oh, hello. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And he does that kind of thing. And sometimes it's just a little bit too hammy.
Is he still finding his feet on this
I think so, actually, yeah, because I've watched a couple of more, which I'll talk about on another episode. But so I've watched those, and I was thinking, these aren't as good as I remember. And then all of a sudden, there's the next couple of episodes, are really good. So I think it is them trying to find the fit and him trying to pitch it, and he's just playing a bit too wacky at times. But then when he has the quieter moments, it's good. And I think the relationship with him and Rose is building, and comparing it to the forced relationship with the current Doctor and Yaz, where she's like going on about, oh yeah, well, you're the most important people I've ever met in my life. And it's just, no, there's no chemistry, and I don't even mean it from a physical chemistry. I mean, there's something about David Tennant. I completely believe the Doctor, because Eccleston's kind of torn and tortured, isn't he? Because it's just after the War Doctor storyline, he's wiped out all the Time Lords and the Daleks. So for this, you see that David Tennant is just loving seeing the universe through Rose's eyes.
Yeah, he's getting
them travelling together and spending that time together. And that chemistry between them's brilliant.
Very cool.
There you go.
What's the name you've given to this thing next? Morbin Time.
I haven't called it that.
No, I've never heard of this. So next week we're talking Morbius, aren't we? I think I've watched it.
So yeah, next week it is Morbin Time. Meme fans out there.
Yeah. Right, there we go, folks. If you would be so kind as to review us on Apple or any other place, but I still think Apple Podcasts have got the majority, which is really, really bad, isn't it? That'd be great. Otherwise, drop us a line, wehavebeenwatchingpodcast@gmail.com. Over on Twitter, it's at WHBW Podcast. And on Insta, We've Been Watching Podcast. Until then, we'd love to hear if you've watched The Northman, and if you think me and Rob are just a couple of old art house snobs, or whether it was a good film, bad film, let us know. Until then, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.